Wings Hauser, a name that resonates with a certain kind of energy, a certain kind of spirit. The name alone conjures up images of a Hollywood maverick. A man who lived life on his own terms, unafraid to challenge the status quo. We weren't the closest of pals, but we ran in the same circles back in the day. Hollywood was a small town in many ways, and if you were part of the scene, you knew everyone, at least by reputation. He was the kind of guy who could light up a room, always quick with a joke or a story. His presence was magnetic, drawing people in with his charisma and wit. He had this infectious laugh, this booming voice that could charm the pants off anyone. It was impossible not to be captivated by him. Wings was a seeker, always searching for something more. He wasn't content with the superficial. He wanted depth, meaning, a connection to something greater. He dabbled in different philosophies, different ways of life. From Eastern mysticism to Western existentialism, he was always exploring, always learning. He was always up for trying new things, pushing the boundaries. Whether it was a new sport, a new hobby, or a new spiritual practice, Wings was game. So it wasn't a complete shock when he got involved with Scientology. It seemed like just another chapter in his quest for understanding. A lot of folks in Hollywood were into it back then. It was almost a trend, a way to find some semblance of peace in the chaotic world of showbiz. They promised the moon and the stars, a path to enlightenment and spiritual freedom. For someone like Wings who was always searching, it was an enticing offer. Wings, with his open heart and restless spirit, was drawn to their message. He saw it as a way to find the answers he had been seeking. Little did he know this spiritual journey would lead him to a very public confrontation, one that would shake the very foundations of the Church of Scientology. It was a clash of ideals, a battle between a free spirit and an institution that promised freedom, but demanded conformity. Picture this, the Chateau Marmont, that legendary hotel on Sunset Boulevard. It's not just a hotel, it's an icon, a symbol of Hollywood's golden age. The walls of this place have seen it all, scandals, romances, and the rise and fall of stars. It's a hive of Hollywood glamour, buzzing with actors, directors, and wannabes. The air is thick with ambition and dreams, the kind of place where deals are made over cocktails and careers are launched with a chance encounter. I'm there with a few friends enjoying a drink when in walks Wings. Wings Hauser, the man with a reputation as wild as the city itself. His presence is magnetic, drawing eyes and whispers from every corner of the room. He joins our table, his eyes sparkling with that mischievous glint I knew so well. It's the kind of look that promises stories, adventures, and maybe a little bit of trouble. He starts telling us about his Scientology journey, how he's been taking these courses, climbing the ranks. His voice is animated, full of passion and conviction. You can tell he believes in what he's saying, or at least he wants to believe, but then his tone changes. The excitement fades, replaced by something darker, more serious. It's like a cloud passing over the sun, casting a shadow on his face. He leans in, his voice dropping to a whisper, the kind of whisper that makes you lean in too, hanging on every word. "John," he says, "you wouldn't believe how much these courses cost. They're bleeding me dry." His eyes widen, and you can see the desperation, the frustration. He pulls out a crumpled piece of paper, a list of courses and their prices. My jaw drops. It's a staggering amount, more than most people make in a year. Thousands of dollars for a single course. It was outrageous. Wings was furious. He felt cheated, manipulated. The betrayal was palpable, hanging in the air like a thick fog. He started ranting, his voice rising in anger, echoing through the bar. Heads turned, people stopped talking. It was as if the entire place was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. All eyes were on Wings. That night, something shifted. It was more than just a rant, it was a revelation, a moment of clarity in the chaos of Hollywood life. Wings Hauser, the Hollywood wild man, was about to become the unlikely whistleblower on Scientology's controversial practices. It was a turning point, not just for him, but for everyone who heard his story that night. The Chateau Marmont had seen many things, but this was different. This was the beginning of something big. Now for those of you who don't know, Scientology is a religion, or as they put it, a religious philosophy. It was founded by L. Ron Hubbard, a science fiction writer, back in the 1950s. They believe in this thing called Dianetics, which is basically a system for clearing your mind of negative thoughts and traumas. Sounds harmless enough, right? Well, here's where it gets tricky. Scientologists believe that by going through these courses and therapies, you can achieve spiritual enlightenment and become a clear. But these courses, as Wings found out, don't come cheap. The price list Wings showed me that night was staggering. Thousands of dollars for introductory courses, tens of thousands for more advanced levels. It was like a pyramid scheme, with each level costing more than the last. And the kicker? They pressured you to move up the ranks, claiming it was the only way to achieve true spiritual freedom. Wings felt trapped. He'd already spent a small fortune, but they kept pushing him for more. He started questioning everything. Was this really the path to enlightenment, or was it just a cynical money-making operation? The more he learned, the more disillusioned he became. Section 5, Scientology, a system built on levels. Scientology's pricing model is based on this elaborate system of levels, each with its own cryptic name: operating, thetan, clear, and many more. These levels are designed to give the impression of a structured path to enlightenment, a journey that promises to unlock the secrets of the universe and the depths of the human mind. This journey is often referred to as the bridge to total freedom. It's a metaphorical bridge that members are encouraged to cross, with each level representing a step closer to spiritual freedom and ultimate knowledge. It's all very mysterious and, frankly, more than a little confusing. The terminology and the concepts can be bewildering, even to those who have been part of the organization for years. But the bottom line is, the higher you climb, the more it costs. Each level requires significant financial investment, with some members spending hundreds of thousands of dollars over the years. They justify these exorbitant prices by claiming that their teachings are incredibly valuable, that they offer unparalleled insights into the human condition and the universe. They argue that these teachings hold the keys to unlocking your true potential, to achieving a state of being that is free from the limitations and struggles of everyday life. But many critics, including former members, argue that it's just a way to exploit people's desire for spiritual growth and fleece them of their hard-earned money. They claim that the promises of enlightenment and freedom are nothing more than a facade designed to keep members investing more and more into the system. Section 6. The public erupts. He's right, you know. Wing's outburst at the Chateau Marmont was just the beginning. Word spread like wildfire through Hollywood and beyond. People were shocked by his revelations about Scientology's pricing practices. The media had a field day. Suddenly everyone was talking about Scientology and its controversial methods. Former members came forward sharing their own stories of financial exploitation and abuse. The public was outraged. How could an organization that claimed to be a religion get away with charging such exorbitant fees? Section 7. The Church responds: silence and deflection. The Church of Scientology, as you can imagine, wasn't too happy about Wing's public denouncement. They went into damage control mode, dismissing his claims as the ramblings of a disgruntled former member. They accused him of lying, of trying to smear their reputation, but their denials rang hollow. The evidence was mounting. More and more people were coming forward, corroborating Wing's story. The Church's attempts to silence their critics only served to fuel the flames of controversy. Section 8. Transparency, the cornerstone of trust. The whole Scientology saga raises important questions about transparency and accountability, especially for organizations that claim to be religious institutions. When you're asking people to invest their time, their money, their very souls in your teachings, you have a moral obligation to be open and honest about your practices. This isn't just about Scientology, it's about any organization that wields power and influence. Transparency is the cornerstone of trust. Without it, you breed suspicion, doubt, and ultimately distrust. Section 9. Wing's legacy, a lesson in speaking truth to power. Wing's Hauser may be gone, but his legacy lives on. He taught us that it's okay to question authority, to speak truth to power, even when it's uncomfortable. He showed us that even a Hollywood wild man can stand up for what he believes in. The fight for transparency and accountability continues. It's up to all of us to demand better from the institutions that shape our lives. We owe it to ourselves, and to the memory of brave souls like Wing's Hauser, to never stop questioning, never stop fighting for what's right.